one of our favorites, UNLV, Dan Mullen. Very, very interesting pickup addition to the quarterback room as former Michigan quarterback Alex Orji is transferring to the Rebels. And it's interesting because he's joining a room now where former Virginia quarterback Anthony Calandria is already over there. And I think both you and I were big fans of that Calandria addition. But Orji is a mega talented athlete, has had some really good moments for Michigan, even played in that national championship game against Washington a couple years ago. We understand what he brings to the table as a runner, has some development to go as a passer, but I'm interested to see how Dan Mullen utilizes him in this offense, because I think there might be more to this than just saying, hey, come in here and compete for a quarterback spot. I think Mullen has a real plan for him.
2 words, Tim Tebow, right? So Dan Mullen first put his name on the map at the SEC level when Tim Tebow was a true freshman. Now, at that time, the starting quarterback was not Tim Tebow. It was Chris Leak, who was more of a passing quarterback, even more of a pure passer than Calandria is. Calandria can move around a little bit, playmaker, but not really a runner. Leak was a pure passer. So when you get into these short yardage situations, this was in the Gators' second national championship season, Dan Mullen, who was the offensive coordinator for Urban Meyer, would insert Tim Tebow as a short yardage back, where he took the snap. He was playing quarterback, but his role was effectively a short yardage back to get those first downs and potentially, sometimes act as a decoy where the team's worried about him keeping it, and then the running back's able to get by. He presented all sorts of problems. And that year, he also made a lot of big plays, big chunk plays in big games. LSU comes to mind as a play action passer, right? So 3rd and 2, you're bringing in Tebow. Everybody thinks he's either going to run or hand it off, and then he drops back and throws, and you get a huge play. Alex Orji gives you the ability to do that. First, you start with the size, 6'3", 235 pounds, big guy. He's used to running. He's used to running at the Big Ten level. Of course, this is going to be a step down in competition for him. He can throw. Now, look, you're talking about, starting quarterback at Michigan, then no, he cannot throw at that level. Starting quarterback UNLV, I'm not sure he could throw at that level if he's competing with Calandria. But you say, look at the completion, 25 of 47 passes, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns. As a quarterback, that's a no-go. But as a threat to throw when you're expecting him to run, he can complete passes, especially when the box is stacked and he's thrown over the top of people's heads. He has enough passing to do that. So I think that really is what jumps out. Of course, I think Dan Mullen's recruiting Orji is more than that and saying, listen, that when I'm talking about Tim Tebow in 2007, when he was in 2006, when he was very much a gimmicky kind of player, just a running quarterback in short yardage. In 2007 and beyond, Tim Tebow developed into a Heisman candidate, and a winner, one of the best quarterbacks in college history. I'm not saying Orji's going to be that, but I'm saying if you're recruiting him and you're Mullen, you're saying, look, I can use you as a gadget player, but I'm going to continue to develop you as a quarterback, and maybe we can get you to the point where I build a whole offense around you like I built around Tim Tebow. Again, I would bet my money on Calandria as far as the starting quarterback for UNLV, but at least it's on the table and it brings some competition to the room.
Without a doubt, and Mullen continues to add as many weapons as he can to the offense over there, and we understand he's an offensive guy and can put guys in position to get the most out of their abilities. So I don't expect anything different here with the Orji move.
And you saw that him play the same role at Michigan. I mean, he was a specialist player at Michigan too, when he wasn't the main quarterback. So it's not like that's unfamiliar to him.
Could you see both of them on the field at the same time?
Who knows?
That's where I'm thinking with this too. Because look, Orji's a guy where his brother Anthony Orji is an NFL linebacker, plays for the Saints. I'm not saying that, of course, he wants to play quarterback, but he is a high upside athlete that could probably play another position or two at the next level. Not saying he's Taysom Hill, but I'm telling you the sort of athlete that he is, and we've seen flashes of it. But I think he's got that sort of ability where Mullen can get that sort of creative and maybe get him the ball. If he's open to that, which that's how I'm thinking with this move.
And the size is there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the athleticism, it's the athleticism at that size. That opens up so many potential positions, similar to Taysom Hill, right?
And remember Trey Burton at Florida, and Mullen wasn't there at that time, but Trey Burton was a guy who ended up having an NFL career out of being, he was an H-back tight end, but he was a guy who played all over the field at the college level.
And you look at a picture of this guy, man, I mean, and just seeing him on the field at the Big Ten level, the guy, he stood out with his size. This is not like, Pat White, who was a great running quarterback but was skinny. This guy can really knock people over. Our guy Sergeant Moorhew, excited for Orji, maybe Mullen moves into running back. Yeah, we just talked about it. That's a potential outcome here. And look, I think he'll get a chance to compete at quarterback, but if it becomes apparent that, hey, Calandria or whoever else is going to be the quarterback, maybe he says, look, I tried at Michigan, didn't work out. Tried at UNLV, it didn't work out. My future is clearly going to be at a different position. I gave it my best shot. Let's make it happen here at what other position. Cornelius Ingram is a guy that I'm pretty sure overlapped with Mullen at the University of Florida, former quarterback who ended up being a really good tight end for them. Jordan Reed, was that while Mullen was there?
Yeah, I think it would have been. Mullen was there. Mullen was there for 4 years from 2005 to 2008. So I think that maybe it was a little bit after. Let me pull up.
But another quarterback that kind of comes to mind that overlapped with Dan Mullen was Nick Fitzgerald at Mississippi State, who was a big guy running quarterback as well, had some success in the SEC as that big physical running quarterback. So Mullen knows how to use this kind of player. And I think this is a Big Ten athlete, a Big Ten body now playing at the G5 level. Excited to see the possibilities here. Again, we talked so much about UNLV because you could see the vision of what Mullen is trying to do. And if you can get this high school recruiting operation tuned up, which it was already recruiting at a high level for UNLV before he got there. But if he can recruit better out of high school here than he did at UF, which I think he will because of the lesser competition and the fact that Nevada has really improved as far as a football player producing state, if he can recruit better, he's going to have some NIL support, and he can get this offense looking exactly the way he wants it to look. I think you're going to see UNLV be a really, really good, really consistent G5 program. And a quarterback, you've gone from question mark to a clear vision of what Dan Mullen wants to do.